A major development in the Trump administration's efforts to ramp up clashes with Democratic officials through prosecution, something that we've clearly had evidence of from. Well, the Democratic mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka, now suing the prosecutor who oversees what was basically a mistaken arrest. DOJ has already dropped that case. It's a former Trump lawyer, Alina Habba, who was in the prosecutor role, also suing a DHS investigator who arrested him outside the ICE detention facility. This was just last month. Baraka says the arrest is a false arrest and a malicious prosecution, thus violating constitutional rights. And in addition, separately says Habba defamed him because she, quote, made a biased political goal explicit, antithetical to her role and ethical obligations as a U.S. attorney. The defamation claim also interesting because it's something that the Trump team has used in new suits against all kinds of folks, including the media. We're seeing now a Democratic official use that same tool, saying he's been defamed. Now, Baraka and other lawmakers were touring that migrant detention center, and that's something they can arrange to do. There was some chaos when they were there, and masked ICE officers, some armed, surrounded the mayor and handcuffed him. That's the video you see here. He was initially charged with trespassing, and then very quickly, the DOJ, through Habba, dropped that charge.
Mayor Baraka was arrested by DHS this afternoon while he was protesting outside of a New Jersey jail.
Baraka now in a legal battle with federal prosecutors over his trespassing charges.
Well, I just think it's about intimidation and bullying.
The Department of Justice agreed to recommend a dismissal of the case. All of that is a break of Department of Justice protocol.
Obviously, it was a baseless case. I think this is clearly being driven by that desire to do what was said earlier, to hurt people, to embarrass people. This is not about revenge. The government, too, should be responsible for their behavior.
Baraka arguing there has to be responsibility. This kind of case can seek damages. It is not as a filing, the kind that would lead to jailing Trump officials, for example. But he does say that he's already suffered severe reputational harm, distress, which could be understandable, for an incident that the DOJ doesn't even prosecute or defend anymore because they dropped the charge. This is a development. This is important in the context of how people and public officials and the opposition deal with what is a clear effort by the Trump administration to sometimes harass, sue, or in this case, wrongfully arrest, since they dropped the charge, people who are speaking out. What does your case do? What are you seeking?
Well, what it does is holds the U.S. Attorney in our district and the special agent in charge responsible for arresting me, putting out information even before I was, processed, that I was a criminal, I did something wrong, I disobeyed the law, I'm not above the law, and ultimately I didn't break any law, right? I was cuffed, fingerprinted, took pictures of twice. Once there and once in court for a Class C misdemeanor, which you send summons to people for. You don't lock them up and take their fingerprints.
You're saying it wasn't even normal practice for something that's minor to use physical force that way, to have a whole process arrest.
Not at all. And they agreed it was minor. They didn't even want us to have a preliminary hearing. They said the charges are too minor to have a preliminary hearing. So it was too minor to have a preliminary hearing. Why are you fingerprinting me and taking pictures of me and interrogating me in a room? And why are you doing it twice? It is humiliating. My family was there. When I was arrested, my mother was outside in house shoes in the rain. And they don't see any of this. This is my family, my community who has to endure this. And they didn't even apologize for it. Didn't send a letter to say anything about what they did. They made some missteps. And hope we can work together in the future, so forth and so on. None of that. Just, what they did.
Your case now puts them on defense. It tries to make them answerable. What is your evidence for the claim that this was political, that this was not a normal arrest?
Well, I think that she started tweeting immediately as soon as I was arrested. I mean, we're not above the law. When they came into this city, they began talking about the governor, the U.S. attorney, the attorney general, the United States senator, talking about the city of Newark. We're going to turn the state red. I mean, all of that is not the purview of the law enforcement agencies of the state, the federal government, or the city for that matter. We work together collectively to reduce violence and crime in our city. We don't campaign when we ask the U.S. Attorney's Office to help us or the DOJ, we don't ask them who they voted for president. What we do is present evidence and information and try to organize with them to help us make our lives better in our city. I think what they've done is egregious and it's authoritarian and it needs to be pushed back against.
Yeah. Well, and in your action, it shows that they don't just get to do all that, what you described, then drop it and just keep moving. You're trying to create a process through the existing law and court system for accountability. Ms. Haba, as you know, has not been confirmed. And there's an open question about how both judges in the Senate deal with what are these alleged abuses of power. On the flip side, last time you were here, we discussed this. And later on the same night, we had the Trump border czar on the program. He had heard your interview. He had a very strong response. Take a listen.
I think it was a ridiculous interview. I listened to it. Look, he's running for higher political office. He got exactly what he wanted. He went there to get on camera and cause a ruckus, and that's what he got. The mayor was on the property. He was asked numerous times to leave and refused to leave. Those who break the law should be prosecuted.
Mr. Mayor?
We may have to sue him, too. The reality is I didn't break any law. I was asked to leave the property, like he said, and guess what? I left. There's a video that shows that I left the property. It's not even their property. I was allowed on the property by, Geo Group, which is a private organization that owns that property. But they don't even have a lease in that property. There's no government workers in that building whatsoever. They don't have any claim to that property. And trespass is a state offense. It's not a federal offense. These guys need to find out the law before they begin running their mouth about what is right and what is wrong. Ultimately, they're just trying to defend their side at all costs. They were absolutely, positively wrong in arresting me.
And finally, you also mentioned defamation. Interestingly, that's something that Donald Trump has claimed against many media organizations, sometimes on fairly thin grounds. Right. Why is it important to you to sort of join this fight and say you're going to hold them accountable to false claims if they are legally injurious? Because
this is what they've been doing, right? They have saying they've been victimized by the weaponization of law enforcement, the weaponization of government, of the courts. And they've gotten to office and did the exact same thing that they're claiming other people have done to them without any equivocation whatsoever. Just as deliberate and intentional as they want to be about doing this, telling people they're going to arrest judges, telling people they're going to arrest anybody, and they're going ahead and doing it, bypassing the courts and doing whatever they want to do. And they should be held accountable for this. I mean, they absolutely should. And it should stop. Like, we need resolution. Look, I'm not angry at Alina Habba or even at Rick Patel. I'm not angry at any of these people. I think they're wrong. They're dead wrong. It's against the Constitution. It's not patriotic. It's not democratic. I don't care what the Homeland Security guy says. He's wrong. He's dead wrong. And what he's talking about is unconstitutional and authoritarian. And it needs to be pushed back against.